Well, greetings, gamers. This is Dr. Ayleen, the Gaming Doc, and this is your place and your space to take a break, take a breath, to chill out, to chat, to laugh, to, maybe express something, because this is your space. Consider this your break room. And I am so happy to be here, and even though it's like a little bit later, it's about an hour later than I normally do, but that's always fun to shift things up a little bit. And I'm here with my tea, which is Numi, and it is Rooibos. And I just realized I've got to change my announcement to, hold on. And that. Okay. There we go. Okay. Think About It Thursday. And it is Think About It Thursday because there are times we need to just think about it. And it doesn't matter what it is. We just need to stop and think. Think about maybe yes, the Stream Elements comes up with the last message. I had to go into a Zoom meeting this morning, and it's like, okay, what do I need to take care of? What do I need to do? And it is what it is. Let's put you over there. So, how are you? How are you? I hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And, just chill out. Enjoy things. Sometimes we think too much. And there, speaking of thinking, I was just thinking about my favorite bunny, JJ the Bunny, aka Jackalope, aka, and I thought I'd mix him up a little bit, aka Hugs Bunny, aka the March Hare, aka Funny Bunny, aka Punny Bunny, aka a very dear friend. And JJ, thank you so much for the information you passed on. Hopefully it'll go somewhere, but thank you so much for that. And it is always so good to find out what JJ is having for lunch. March Hare, that sounds new. Yes, I'm not exactly sure where we want to go with it, but, unless, of course, like, if your birthday was in March, that would be perfect. But, marching, moving forward. So we have to figure out, we're still kind of trying that one on, and we may have to, like, do a couple of tweaks on it, but I know there's something in there. Mixel 119, what's up? Oh my gosh, how are you? It's so good to have you here. I'm so glad to see your name lighting up. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And well, let's see, February, that's close to March. Good, and you? I am doing awesome. It is another lovely day up on the mountain, and as we go from spring into summer, this is always kind of a neat time of year because it starts to warm up just a little bit. It's still a little bit chilly up here, but it is nice, and I love living in the mountains. I love living in the woods. I'm in a little cabin surrounded by trees next to a river, and it's the home that I have always wanted. And so, it's just nice, and the people are really sweet. The people are really wonderful. And living on a mountain in the woods, occasionally, the power goes off. Occasionally, the internet goes off, which we are at 0 frame drops. So we are going to knock wood and say, yes, thank you. And it does give time to think. It gives quiet time to think about stuff. And that's why I call this Think About It Thursday. Because we get so busy moving through our lives that we're reacting and responding, but we're not really thinking. It's sort of like that thing where, you drive to a destination, and when you get there, you suddenly realize you don't actually remember the entire process of driving. And it's easy to go on autopilot. And sometimes we need to. Sometimes we need to just bam, 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 bam. I know somebody who was working at a fast food place. And it was one of those nights when it's like the place is packed and they had people call in sick. So there were only two of them. And, you know, one was doing all the cooking, one was doing all the ringing. And something happened. And one of them, the one who was doing all the ringing, just stopped. Because all of a sudden he thought about, oh my God, there's so many people here. And my friend had to go, hey, keep moving. And it's like, oh, okay. So there are times when we do need to go into autopilot, and it's a good thing, especially if we need to just kind of get through something. And it is, you know, it's also good to have times when we just stop and we just go, wow, how am I feeling in this moment? What's going on with me? And if the answer is nothing, everything's cool, it's like, okay, let's move on. But sometimes we stay so busy, it's almost like we're trying to stay 2 steps ahead of the things that are bothering us, the things that are weighing on us, the things that are scaring us. And when we go into that thinking point, yeah, unfortunately, that opens up the doorway to go, ugh, there's some stuff I really don't want to think about. And it's hard. And life can be hard. Where are you, life, in what country? I am in the United States. I am in the state of California. And the part of California that I'm in is sort of in the sort of northern part of it. Not too far. I'm about an hour away from San Francisco. And I'm not that far from the beach. So I live on a mountain that's sort of above where the beach is. So where are you, and what country are you in? It's always so cool to find out where different people are from, because I've had the opportunity to visit a few. Oh my God, Germany! I am so going to Germany. I have ever since I was a child, because my parents met and were married at Ramstein Air Force Base when they were both in the Air Force. And I have always told myself that I want to go to Germany because they both loved it. I mean, and they were there. It was quite a long time ago, but they loved it. And I've always wanted to go and see where my parents met. And I remember when we were young, my parents used to, when they wanted to talk about something they didn't want us to know about, they would speak German. And it wasn't the like the full-on German. It was what most of the military at that time used. Was they called it Straßendeutsch, and you know, like street German. And they were, you know, would talk to each other, but then they noticed that we started picking up the language. We started picking up the words, and they caught us actually saying words, so they knew they had to do something else. So at that point, they just sent us outside. But, oh, I definitely have Germany on my list of places I absolutely want to visit. So you have to let me know what are the places I absolutely have to see. But it's neat, you know, to be able to have a connection to different places in the world, even if it's a connection through my parents. And, you know, they've both passed on now, but I know they always wanted to be able to go back and visit. So I want to plan that trip in honor of them, to go see where it was that they met. And actually, my parents' meeting is almost a full example of not thinking, because my parents never dated before they got married. There was a reason for this. The reason was my parents couldn't stand each other. And, you know, yes, they're both gone, but it's kind of a funny story. My parents did not like each other. They ran with the same group of friends, but they did not like each other. And in fact, they both thought the other was arrogant and unlikable. So what happened was that that my dad ended up, oh, Mixel, thank you for the follow. That's so sweet of you. Thank you. And so my parents, my father, who, and you know, there was always the idea that alcohol was involved, decided one evening after quite a bit of vodka that he was going to ask my mother to marry him. And he knew she would say yes because, of course, he was all that and a bag of chips. And so, but when she said yes, he was going to go, ha, as if I'd ever marry you. And so he went up, vodka fueled, and asked my mother to marry him. My mother turned around and said, ha, as if I'd ever marry you. Well, it was like, very upsetting for him. And so every time they went to, the club, he would always go ask her. Now, he always told me that he knew 13 was an unlucky number because that was exactly how many times he asked her to marry him. So one of the times, the 13th time that my dad, again, vodka fueled, went and asked my mother to marry him, I don't know why he didn't let go of the joke. One of my mother's friends, when my dad walked away, said, well, I don't know what that is, but you don't have to worry about it anymore because he's going to marry me. 13th, dang. I know, it's like, Dad, let go of the joke. But he was determined. And so this woman went over and draped herself on my dad. And my mother said she got jealous, which she also blamed on the vodka. So she went over, and just to spite this other woman, she holds up her cigarette lighter. I mean, these days that might be considered stalking. Oh, God, yes. It was, they had a very weird relationship. So, and then that was back in the days when women had like the cigarette holders. And so she flashes her cigarette holder at my dad and said, light my cigarette, husband. Now, she was spiting the other lady. And so my dad said, finally, he got to say the line. Well, before he could say the line, suddenly, because my dad was called Augie and my mom was called Jazz, all of a sudden, somebody nearby heard my mother and said, oh my God, Augie and Jazz are getting married. Well, before my dad could get his line out, suddenly they were surrounded by people who were telling them, oh my God, you two have had this secret love affair and all this other stuff. And the next thing you know, my dad is getting, they said, well, where's the ring? Where's the ring? And my dad said, I don't have a ring. He got dragged that night to a nearby jeweler, and the jeweler lived upstairs. They woke the jeweler up and, pounded on the door. My dad said the next thing he knew, he was spending his hard-earned money on an engagement ring from my mother. And my mom was saying that everybody was, talking to her about getting married and how wonderful it was, and that, they all knew that they were meant for each other. And she said she couldn't get a word in edgewise. Well, my dad gets brought back, and who walks in but General Benjamin Davis, who was at that time the highest ranking African American in the Air Force. And he was considered a very big deal. And so he walked up to my parents and said, well, I hear that somebody just got engaged. Is that true? Well, they looked at each other and thought, we are not going to tell this general that we made the whole thing up or that it was a mistake. So they just sort of both nodded. And the next thing you know, they're planning a wedding. And they're both trying to figure out a way to get out of it without looking like the bad guy. And my mother, she said, because she had recently become a Catholic, and she said, it's like, Lord, is this really the man I'm supposed to be with? But the thing is, neither one of them actually went out of their way. They could have called it off. They could have done something, but neither one did. So maybe there was something underneath. Maybe if they had thought about it, they would have, realized that, maybe there is something to this. And they ended up getting married, and they were together for 34 years when my father passed away. And my mother said, I've lost my best friend. Because even though they were completely at odds, even though they never dated before they were married, there was something about it that went beyond logical thought. It went beyond figuring out why it was happening, because it just did. And thanks to a practical joke and vodka, and two people who maybe on a gut level knew something that their conscious mind didn't. I'm here. So, it's amazing how sometimes when we think about stuff, it can help us. And other times, if we get too wrapped up in trying to make it make sense. See, I kind of hold a difference between just thinking and thinking with the intention of making something make sense. Because you know what? Sometimes stuff just doesn't make sense. My parents getting together didn't make sense. So the idea that, they really didn't think, they just responded, which sometimes works out well. But I think there's sort of a gut knowledge that I think most people have. And my parents were the perfect match for each other. They were both kind of alpha personalities. They were both very stubborn, and yet they meshed beautifully. And if you messed with one, you messed with the other. And, my mom was not above, throwing hands if somebody, it's like, if you did anything to her family, and if you did anything to cross my father, oh my gosh, and my dad, he even told us, there were 4 of us, and he said, you can take me on if you think you're big enough and bad enough. But if you ever disrespect your mother, they will not, that is not going to be anything. You will be out of here, and you will be lucky if all I do is kick you out of the house. And it was like, okay, duly noted. Don't upset mom. And there was something that was just really neat about them together. They had their issues, they had their arguments, but there was something that bound them that kind of went beyond logic. It went beyond what made sense, but it worked. And sometimes we need to think about not thinking. Maybe we need to think about the idea of just letting things happen. What's the worst that could happen in any situation if you just sit back and see what unfolds? And yes, that can be really hard, because a lot of time we want to control things. We want to, it's like we want to control the variables so that way we don't have to worry about, it's like if I'm in control of all the variables, which control is kind of an illusion anyway, at least to me. I've tried it. It doesn't work. But that whole point of think about what it would be like to not have to think everything through. What would it feel like to have a day off and plan absolutely nothing? Have nothing prepared? Now, when I travel and I go on trips, gotta love it. If I go on a trip, I like a certain amount of time to have absolutely nothing scheduled. And I know, folks, it's like, okay, we're going to go here, then we're going to go here, then we're going to go here, then we're going to go here. And everything is about rushing from one place to the next. And it's like, well, how about just some downtime? How about some time to just maybe hang out at the hotel, or, oh, there's a coffee shop over there. I think we'll go walk to that. And that drives people crazy sometimes when they have to. It's like, well, no, it's we have to have a schedule. There's got to be the schedule. I don't respond well to, tight scheduling, especially when I want to relax, when I want to have a good time. And, and if I say, oh, hydrate. I'm telling you, thank you. Because I do, this is a South African tea, and it is just, very tasty. And I use like whipping cream. I don't use regular milk because, one, whipping cream, I can only use that much and I still get the creamy effect. And it also does not have a whole lot of, carbs and heavy stuff in it. But, the idea that, when was the last time you just sat and did absolutely nothing and let whatever thought come into your mind in that moment? When was, I mean, because very few of us are able to have that time because life is a very busy thing. And we're either rushing to get to work, rushing to get home from work because there's something we have to do and there's always something on the schedule. How about think about what it'd be like to just sit and decide in that moment what you'd like to do. You go, you know what? I'm sitting here doing nothing. What would I like to do? What would I like to experience? What would make me happy in this moment? And think about that. When was the last time you thought about what would make me happy right now? And if it's been a while, try thinking about it. Think about what would make you happy. For me, what makes me happy right now is that I'm here with you and that, we're in this space together and that I get to carry that good feeling throughout my day. It's for me, it's right around 10:20. So I've got almost my whole day ahead of me. And I get to carry the good feeling that I have doing this throughout that whole day. And I know for some, my family makes me happy. That is wonderful. I am so happy for you. And it's nice when you have that. I grew up with, we were in the military, so we moved like every 18 months. So we didn't have a lot of outside friends. We didn't get to see a lot of outside family. But, there were 4 of us and we were born like 4 years in a row. So as kids, we were very close. And, family was everything. Okay, that was random. All right, so basically, it's dead, Jim. I just experienced a random power outage, and it was like the power just blinked long enough, and you're back. It's like, wait a minute, why did all the power go out? What the heck? And yeah, it happens sometimes. We have, like, I don't know why. They're trying to clear a lot of trees. Maybe something went, but it was just long enough of a blink that everything went out and is like, ah! So, yeah, stuff happens. And we move forward and we figure it out and we still do our best. And, it's just so weird. Squirrel jumps on the power line. I know. Darn squirrels. But yeah, random things happen and we move forward. We deal with it. And I hope that, it's like if that, my dad used to say, well, in any given thing, he would say, well, if that's the worst thing that happens to me today, I'm still coming out ahead. So yeah, if that's the worst thing that happens to me today, I'm coming out ahead. But, it is, we were talking about family. And when I grew up and we settled and, we were able to settle in one place, it was always wonderful to interact with family. And even though now most of the family that I grew up with are no longer in this life, it's just down to me and my younger brother. My parents and my older brother and sister are all gone. And when you start reaching, around my age, yeah, there's a tendency for for family to go because everybody else I'm sorry, but I have to be offline. Oh, Mixel, absolutely no worries. You go and you have a wonderful day and you do your thing. Blessings to you, and I'm sure we'll see you soon. And thank you so much for the follow. That was so sweet of you. So you have a wonderful day, and thank you for sharing yourself with me. And you're gonna have to, at some point, you're gonna have to let me know all the places in Germany I'm gonna have to visit. So, bye. But yeah, when you think about what it is that is the important pieces of your life, what are the most significant things, and what is the, at the heart of what makes you happy. And maybe, it's, my ex-husband used to have a phrase. He goes, well, and I'd ask him if something made him happy, and he would look at me and goes, well, I'm not unhappy. And I always thought that was a very interesting phrase, because it's like, well, you're not unhappy, but that doesn't mean you're necessarily happy, but it doesn't mean you're necessarily not happy. So it's like, I don't get what that means. But I've actually heard other people use that. Bayern is wonderful. Oh, I will definitely note that down. Thank you, Bayern. You know, okay, hold on. I'll put it on a Post-it. Bayern. Yes, I will look that up. I love getting things to Google. But, you know, it's being able to make the most of what you have in that moment and view it in that way. View it that, well, in this moment, this is pretty good. In this moment, this is a pretty good moment. And, you know, there's always something to be said for, it's like, well, if you keep your expectations low, then you never get disappointed. And yeah, that's true. If you always stay within the, well, I'm not unhappy range, then, you know, you really don't have to worry about it, you know, getting either too high or too low. So the idea that when we consider and when we actually think about what would make us happy, there is a part of that that is kind of that feeling. Because sometimes our logical brain doesn't know. Now, I talk a lot about, you know, left brain and right brain, that the left side is the logical, analytical part, and the right brain is the creative and, you know, and imaginative and innovative part. And sometimes, you know, they each have their strengths. And if we have a problem, if there's a problem to be faced, it's good to go into the left brain first, because that just goes, okay, there's a problem, we need to fix the problem, you know, that's it. If we go into the right brain first, then it's like all the stories about, you know, how it's overwhelming and how we're not worthy and, you know, how it's more than what we can deal with and all the stories that other people say that bring us down. Now, if we're thinking about what would make me happy, often the left brain has a little bit of a hard time with that, because the left brain would automatically go like, well, we're not unhappy, so let's gauge the level of happiness. How are we defining happy? On what scale? If we're on a scale of 1 to 10 and we are like at 5 happy, what exactly does that mean? What is my 10? What is my 1? You know, what? And the left brain wants to put it in a box that makes sense. The right brain doesn't worry about it making sense. You know, the right brain says, it's like, what would make me happy? I want ice cream. Or I want to go play on a swing. Or, you know, I want to take the day off and play video games. You know, that is, you know, there's no gauging. It's either happy or unhappy. So, yeah, you know, let that question go in through the right brain. You know, it's not a problem to be solved. It's not something that you need to go into that analytical place for. It's imagination. What would make me happy right now? What would be something that would be very, very cool? What would I love to happen? You know, maybe I do want to go and get ice cream. I remember one day I was at my office and, you know, doing the doctor thing, and I had a lot of stuff I had to take care of, and it was just like, ugh. I was feeling very overwhelmed in that moment and very burdened. And all of a sudden I heard an ice cream truck. And I had not heard an ice cream truck in a very long time, and I certainly hadn't heard one in where our business complex was. And I thought I was hallucinating. It's like, okay, I have actually gone nuts. The last of the gray cells has hit the bug light. But then I realized, it's like, I'm not imagining this. And I look out of my office and I see people heading out to the parking lot. And somebody actually had brought an ice cream truck into our business park and was parked in the parking lot. And I mean, you see people A lot of people in everyday conversation say happy when joy is the appropriate word. Share what you know. Welcome. Share what you know. Hello. I'm so happy to have you here. I hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And yep, the last of the gray cells has hit the bug light. So, and if you are a streamer who like streams anything, please feel free to announce it, to say what you do. If you stream, Mixel 119, if you're still out there, make sure that you know, I mean, and I know that there's like an etiquette thing about, you know, well, you shouldn't self-promote in other people's streams. I'm okay with that. And even if it's just that you're really proud of something that you did, you know, recently, or you have really good news, I think that it's important for us to share good news and share things that we feel proud of. So if there's something you're proud of, if there's something that you would like to share, please feel free to do so. You know, and I think that that's cool. And I appreciate you being here. And yeah, you know, it's all in how we each define things. And it's like for my ex-husband, the term "I'm not unhappy" made absolute sense. He knew exactly what that meant, even though I didn't understand it. I didn't, you know, it's like trying to confirm a negative. And it's like, well, if you're saying you're not unhappy, first off, that sounds kind of like a double negative, which you're not supposed to have in sentence structure. But that idea that it made sense to him, and I didn't get it. But that didn't mean that it was invalid. The beginning of wisdom is the definition of terms. Exactly. Because if we're not on the same page, you know, if you know, we're not able to have that common ground of a common understanding, at the very least, of the terminology. You know, if somebody tells me, it's like, wow, you know, I'm really miserable, and I want to understand, it's like, okay, what does miserable mean to you? You know, and, you know, having that common term or common understanding of the terminology we use. Well, I will say recently I heard someone say that they were going to rock someone's world. Now, growing up in the 60s and 70s, the term rock someone's world usually meant something that was going to go on in the back of a van, and that you were going to place a smile on their face and give them a story that they could tell their friends. When will you go live next time? Well, I will be live tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So, and it's like 10:34, so figure out what time it is. So at 9 a.m. California time. And then on Saturday, I actually do gaming. So, and that'll also be at start up at 9 a.m. as long as my power holds and as long as my internet holds. But yes, I will be live again tomorrow. I stream every day except for Sundays. And that's my time with my son, and, you know, that's kind of my day off, and to get caught up on some stuff, and, you know, to get some things recorded. So I also do voice acting. So, you know, it gives me time to, you know, get some things recorded and do that kind of work for the week. But I stream Mondays through Saturdays. And, you know, and it really is. Okay, I'm coming. Thank you. I hope you will. And I will definitely look up Bayern. It sounds, it's weird because it does sound familiar. So I don't know if I've heard the name of that city, but I will definitely go check it out. Thank you. And, you know, so it's about, you know, so anyway, I found out that now when you use that term, you're going to rock someone's world, it means you're going to do them harm. And so, you know, I would think to myself, it's like, wait a minute, that was such a nice phrase. It meant something happy. Why? Why would you damage something that was meant to be a happy thing? But, you know, it's a different world than the one I grew up in. And terminologies and phrases and the way that we present ourselves. And well, it's sort of like, caps lock on, if somebody is typing and they're in all caps, it's like, oh, they're yelling. It's like, well, I don't know that. Maybe they just like typing in caps lock. I don't know. Maybe they didn't realize it was in caps lock and then they hit send. But the idea that we never quite know what it is someone means by something that they say unless we ask them, unless we ask for clarification, unless we consider, okay, what I'm hearing is this, but that the message transmitted may not be the message received. I mean, who among us has not said to somebody, that's not what I meant. I didn't say that. What I meant was, and how frustrating that is when somebody totally gets the wrong impression from something that we're saying. So that means that there is a disconnect in what we're expressing and what the other person hears. And the thing is, it goes through filters. Somebody could say, a perfectly innocent statement like, oh, wow, you look really nice today. And the person hearing it go, oh, right, so I don't look nice other days. I'm only looking nice today, and you think I look horrible the rest of the time. It's like, no, that's not what it means. Or that's not what the person meant. It's just like they just meant it as a compliment. And while I consider there to be light and shadow in everything, absolutely everything, in my humble opinion, carries both a light aspect and a shadow aspect. And, that idea that, the best of intentions can still go very badly. And, people will say things and they don't realize they're being hurtful because they don't understand what that person's perspective is. And, and yes, there is, in my mind, just a little bit too easy a jump into, cancel culture and taking offense. First off, in my mind, I think sometimes people just need to calm the heck down and to take a moment and to go, okay, do I truly believe that this person wants to be hurtful to me? I mean, I've gotten trolls in the chat. I think I've gotten two. I think there's been 2 times I've gotten trolls in my chat, which I think is actually pretty good since I started streaming last October. But the idea that, is somebody really intending to be hurtful? And if they are, I'm really kind of curious about it. It goes, in my mind, it goes into a place of, especially if they don't know me, it's like, so why are you choosing to be hurtful? Since we don't know each other and it's kind of a waste of energy because I'm not going to be hurt by what you're saying. So what is your part in this? What is your attachment? And often, it's just because they're hurting. It's like, look, I'm an old lady. There are very few new things that could be said to hurt me. And it is, once you reach a certain point that you go, it's like, you know what? Yeah, take your best shot. Go for it. I've been called all kinds of things in my life. And yes, and some of them at the time hurt very deeply. And looking back, it's like, well, maybe they were just a jerk. And I've reached that point in my life where it's like, oh, I get it. You're kind of a jerk. And let it go from there. And it takes a while to get to that point. But when we start, getting wrapped up in the problem with thinking is that sometimes something comes in and there's that automatic spin on something negative, that it means something negative. And okay, maybe it does. Or maybe they just said something dumb that sounded a lot better in there. Oh, Diona 87. Oh, folks, welcome my nameless family, Diona 87, who is awesome, who is sweet. And welcome, Raiders. Thank you so much. And for those of you who are in raiding, if you can go to that where my picture is, just underneath on the frame, on the left side it says live next to it. If you can click that, what that will do is allow the raid to count towards my viewerships, and you know, it won't take you out of anything. You just click that and it'll create that. Leah Bobia 2. Hello, Leah Bobia 2. It's very nice to meet you. I'm so happy that you're here. I hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And hey, y'all. Hey, look, gotta go back to work. Mwah. Diona, one of the hardest working ladies on Twitch, who manages to get a very entertaining and cool stream in during her lunch hour. That is so cool. So yes, you go back to there, and thank you so much for the lurk. Thank you so much for the raid. That is so sweet of you. And Leah Bobia, if you are a streamer, then please feel free to, you know, shout out your stream. And you know, it's I am totally cool with that. And for anybody who comes in, it's okay. You know, if you have a stream that you're proud of, if you have a charity stream that you're doing, if you've got a special stream coming up, if it's your birthday, if it's your unbirthday, if, you know, you made a very cool macaroni necklace and you're very proud of it, or you colored inside the lines, or you beat Bloodborne, shout it out. I've streamed once but panicked and haven't done it since. Oh, sweetie. That's okay. It happens. But, you know, you can always go back to it, and I will definitely follow you. So, you know, it really is. It's kind of a shock thing. I'm cooking, so I'll have my hands in food. I'll have you lurking, though. Well, thank you. What about coloring in the lines while beating Bloodborne? I saw a video of a guy who beat Bloodborne using a Guitar Hero's controller, like the actual guitar. That was the most amazing thing I have ever seen. It was like, no, he's not going to do this. And he did, and it was like, oh, that is so cool. And Beardfinity. Yes. I haven't seen that one, but I've seen it with a racing wheel and dance pad. Oh my gosh, I will have to look that one up. But welcome, Beardfinity. Hello, how are you? You know, doing well, I hope. Morning, afternoon, evening, or night, whichever applies to you. And I hope it's a good one. And it is nice to be able to you know, do anything. And like I said, if you have a stream, if you stream whatever you stream, please feel free to shout it out. I love when people give me a reason to celebrate. And if something's good happening for somebody else, that is a darn good reason to celebrate. Because, you know, sometimes when we do those cool things, I mean, yeah, it feels good, but there's something that takes it to another level when we can share it and have somebody go, oh, that is so cool, fist bump, you know, or fist bump. And, you know, to let us know how much, you know, they appreciate what it is that we did. And it doesn't matter what, but giving people a reason to feel good. And yeah, there's always those, it's like, you know, you say, oh my gosh, I did this cool thing, and either they have to one-up you, or, you know, they have to find a way to make it less. But, you know, it doesn't matter. You know, hang out in a space where people are going to be happy for you. And yeah, you know, it really is that simple to be able to just have a break, have a moment where you can just, you know, take a breath and relax and feel good about something. And feeling good about stuff, I mean, when we can feel good about stuff on the inside, it goes out to everywhere. And Bloodchard! Yay! Bloodchard in the house. Absolute shout out to Bloodchard, who is an awesome streamer. Let us know when you're streaming again and what you're doing, because if you want to see a really cool stream and a really cool streamer, click on Bloodchard and, you know, definitely follow that channel because it is just so cool. So I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good. We had a blackout for a hot minute. Or I guess they call it a brownout, where it's like the power just goes out for a split second. And it went out, but it was out just long enough to disconnect everything. So I actually had to come on. This is going to be a 2-part stream. But I'll put it together on my YouTube page anyway. Oh, speaking of that, first off, Bloodchard, thanks for the sub on YouTube. And I'm subbed to yours too. And what I'm doing is I'm taking the streams and putting them onto my YouTube channel. And I've had that for about 4 years, I think. I mean, I always get thrown off because of like 2020, the COVID year, you know, it almost gets displaced. It's like, oh no, I saw them about maybe a year ago. No, it's been 2 years because we didn't see each other all last year. So with, you know, being able to just, you know, take some time for yourself, for your thinking time, for your just, and you know, and it's not even about thinking about things you have to do. Think about things you'd like to do. Think about things you want to do. Think about what would make you happy. And, you know, a lot of my videos, because I've got a whole series of videos on different topics that are on my YouTube channel, and some of them dealing with empathy, being empathic, being able to feel what other people feel as if it's your own feeling. And also, you know, dealing with earth energies and some of the more medicine woman type of stuff that I do. And some of them are just about literally finding balance in an unbalanced world. So, you know, I wanted to do those because I felt that even if it only helped one person, that would be cool enough. And so then when I moved to Twitch, for a while I didn't upload, so now I'm uploading the Twitch episodes and streams, because this is a lot of the stuff I would talk about, except I talk about it for a longer time. And it is, it's just nice to be able to connect and to be able to explore. I mean, if somebody else has an idea about, like, you know what would be really fun right now? This. And then I might have not even ever thought about that being fun. And then you know what? I think that would be fun. I think that would be a lot of fun. So by sharing the things that we think is fun, it could actually inspire somebody else to go, you know what? That would be fun. I want to do that. That's going on my list of things to do. And it gives another reason to feel positive about something, another reason to feel hopeful about something, another reason to say, you know what, for this little bit of time that I'm giving myself a break, things are okay. I'm all right. You know, I don't know what the next moment's going to bring, but in this moment, I'm okay. And most of all, in this moment, I get to focus on me, because we all need to take that time to have those moments where we focus on us. It's not narcissistic. It's not selfish. I've been holding back a little bit on my YouTube due to incidents that happened in my Discord server. Oh, well, that's okay. When you know, if and when you decide to fire that up again, I am there. And yeah, you know, we always have something to think about. So why not give yourself something to think about that you like, something that makes you happy? And yes, we're, you know, kind of imagining that, we go into our right brain first, because see, then we imagine it's like, man, I would love to, you know, go to the beach. Then the left brain can kick in and go, oh, okay, well, we want to go to the beach. Okay, so, you know, we've got sunscreen, we've got this, we've got that, and we do have the time, and we can go down there. And if we go down by Santa Cruz, then that'll be nice, because then we can go to the boardwalk, and, you know, and then the left brain starts adding to the fun moment. But, you know, by itself, the left brain isn't going to think of fun things to do, because it's about problem solving. And once we have the scenario that needs the logistical pieces, yeah, then we can kick that in. So what would make you happy right now? What is it that, and not for anyone else. Sometimes I'll ask people, it's like, okay, if you had a wish that had to be entirely about you, it could not really benefit, it's like, yeah, you wish for world peace, or you wish for everybody in your family to be well and healthy. You know what? Take one wish for yourself. Absolutely. And the only thing is that it has to make you happy. It doesn't matter about what anybody else says or does, but it makes you happy. What would be that wish? And it's amazing how much trouble people have with that. Because we're told, well, you shouldn't be selfish. You should always, be giving. You should always be this, and you should always be thinking of others and putting others first. I don't think you should always be doing that. And as somebody who has done it compulsively for, a very, very, very long time, there are times when we do need to put ourselves first. There are times when our thoughts need to be about what will make us happy. Doku Rowitz. Hello, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I wish you also, I would like to suggest you someone. Your stream reminds me of his a bit. Absolutely. Who. I love finding other streams with like-minded folks. Well, Doku, it's, can I call you Doku? If not, let me know. But it's not so much advice about life, it's possibilities. I am a firm believer that everyone has their own answers inside of them. They don't need someone to give answers. I'm not big on giving people answers, because the thing is that when you give someone an answer, it's your answer. And it's the answer that may work really well for you, and it may also work for them. But each and every one has an answer inside of them, because they have this innate wisdom inside of them. Every one of us has that little wise person inside of us. And sometimes we have a hard time trusting it, because we're told that if we make mistakes, that means that, we're not good enough, or that we can't trust our own intuition just because something ended up, turning out in a way that we had not planned on. But that's not true. You are wise. You are sensible. You are strong. You're smart. And I find that it's not so much that people don't have the answers, they just need the right questions so that they reach their own answer, and that they trust in that own answer. Because, you can get some great advice, and we should always listen to good advice. And keep in mind that it is advice. It is something from that person's perspective. And I'm sure, in most cases, they mean the absolute best. But ultimately, it's about people being able to decide, I can trust me. And if something doesn't resonate with me, no matter how many people are telling me that, if it doesn't resonate with me, with my inner person, then it's not something I should do, even if a lot of people are telling me that. Because in that case, there's always something that kind of holds us back. I've known him for like 4 years now. I was at his stream to help him reach his Twitch partnership. He's known as Lowbro. Okay, we are writing that down. Low B-R-O. Okay, I will definitely look him up. Yay! Thank you. Thank you so much, Bloodchard. So, it's my best advice for life would be to trust yourself. That anytime, if you've made a mistake, all it's done is make you wiser. People say it's like, oh, wow, you're wise. It's like, yeah, because I've done a lot of dumb things. I've done a lot of things that didn't go the way that I had hoped that they would. And I learned from them. I took it to heart. I said, it's like, okay, I don't want that outcome ever happening again. Life isn't about not making mistakes. It's about trying not to make the same ones too often. And if we do, that just means that there's more for us to learn from it. No one should ever be ashamed of the mistakes that they've made, because it's those mistakes that have helped them become the person that they are. And that's a pretty special thing. That is being able to accept both the light and shadow within ourselves. I mean, are there times when I get totally irritated about something and I end up stomping around my cabin in the woods and talking to the trees about how wrong somebody else is? Yeah, I have done that on occasion, and my cat Luna just looks at me like, and you're gonna get this out of your system and feed me when? So, I mean, there's nothing like a cat to give you an I want to speak to your manager look. But it's true. I need to resub to him as well. His channel is based on neon and 80s themes. Oh, I do remember the 80s. Of course, the 80s were like my adult. I was like, grown and married with kids in the 80s. But, it was a fun time. I mean, then there was the 70s disco. Oh, gosh. Disco was amazing. And, the 60s, Summer of Love, and, growing up, watching people sing songs about optimistic stuff. And in fact, I recently got, I brought up a song called Love Train by a group called the OJs. And there's another gamer, Gaming with Kentucky and JD, who is awesome, who is amazing. And he's really a sweetheart. Well, he got like a 20-second clip on it, and he played it on his channel, and he said he didn't get in trouble for it, like, copyright anything. So for the 20 seconds, and, so I'm going to put it onto my channel so that can be played here. But if you ever want to hear a song that just is filled with optimism, and, it's like in the 60s, it was all about optimism. It was about, love in the world. It was about, I'd like to teach the world to sing, which is another wonderful optimistic song. And we all need those every once in a while. I have a playlist that I called, at first I used to call it I Needed That. And it was all songs that would encourage me, all songs that, when I felt down, that could kind of build me up and give me confidence. Now I call that playlist I've Got This. And it reminds me that I've got this, because I want to remind you that you've got this. Whatever you're facing, it's not bigger than you. It's not more powerful than you. Whatever you're facing is just something else that is going to prove how creative you are, how adaptive you are, and how tenacious you are, that you don't give up. And it really is that simple and that complicated, because we spend our whole lives finding reasons why we can't trust ourselves, why, every bad decision we make should stand out, and we forget all the good decisions we've made. And the thing is, a bad decision is only a bad decision, from the view of hindsight. It could have been something that seemed to have gone terribly horrible in that moment, but a year down the line, a week down the line, or maybe 5 years down the line, it turns out it was the best decision you could have made. So, don't be so quick to call a bad decision until you're looking at it, from, that looking back on it. Because maybe it turned out that it wasn't quite so bad. And maybe it turned out it was horrible. But you learned from it. Oh, Doku! Thank you so much for the follow, my friend. I really appreciate that. And hydrate! Tea in the morning is the best. So yeah, when you have an opportunity to stop and take time to think about all the things that you've gotten right. Think about those things you're proud of. Think about, the good decisions that you made that helped improve somebody else's day. Think about how often people say, you know what, I'm so happy that you're in my life. You're really a good friend. You said the thing I needed to hear in that moment. And if you're a streamer, think about the fact that you help people, even if it's just for that little bit of while you're streaming, to not be so sad, that you help people to get through a tough time, that maybe you put a smile on their face as they're watching you rage at a game. Yeah, you are making the world a better place just by what you do. And even if it just changes one person's day, that's not so bad. You know, there are definitely a lot of goals that people can have in life. And you can just simply have it be that I will leave the world a little bit better than it was when I woke up this morning. It can be as simple as that. And a part of that is being gentle with ourselves. A part of that is finding that value in ourselves. A part of that is realizing how important that we are in the world, how much we matter. And there's something that I always say, and you know, we've reached our time for today. But what I always say at the end of my stream is to remind people and to really hope that they understand you are the only you in all of the universe. The only you that has ever been and the only you that will ever be. And what that does is it makes you special, it makes you sacred, and most of all, it makes you necessary. Because without you, the unique you, the universe wouldn't be the same or complete without you. So, thank you for joining me. Thank you. I'm going to lurk. Have a job interview soon. Oh my gosh. Fingers crossed. Everybody put in positive thoughts for Bloodchard. You got this. You totally got this. Sheila! Oh my gosh. Hi, Sheila. Oh, and we're just getting ready to end. But hey, Sheila has an amazing, wonderful, I always catch you at the end. Well, that's okay. You know, even a little bit is nice enough. And Sheila has started doing a YouTube channel, and I am sub to it, and I encourage other people to sub because, you know, she is also a part of taking something and turning it into a positive and sharing. You know, she shares a lot in these videos and about her struggles because she's not the only one with them. And the important thing about sharing a struggle is when other people see that and go, wow, that's just like me. That person knows how I feel. And, you know, and it is so sweet. And, you know, and I think it's a sign that I found this channel at the right time. Well, I'm glad. I hope so. We will be back tomorrow. We'll start at 9 a.m. Pacific. And, but yeah, please go and give Sheila support with her YouTube channel because, you know, what she's doing isn't easy. It's not easy to take something within yourself that you're working on and to share it with people. And, you know, I mean, it takes a lot of courage. And I really admire you, Sheila, for just being so authentic in what you share. And, you know, because the thing is that somebody else who sees that knows that somebody understands. And sometimes that can be the first step to finding your way out of darkness, is to realize you're not alone. And as long as I have this stream, as long as I'm doing this, which will be, you know, however long, I want to give a safe space for that, for people to understand that they're not alone, that they're special, that they're amazing, that they're more than they ever thought that they were, that they are braver than they ever gave themselves credit for, that they are more resilient than they ever thought about. So think about it. Take some time to think about how wonderful you are. Take some time to realize you may not be perfect, but you're pretty freaking amazing. And that quite literally the world wouldn't be the same without you. So we are going to call that a day. I've got to head down the mountain and go take care of some patients because yes, I am the gaming doc and I am an actual doctor. So what we're going to do is we're going to find let's see, who can we go and, you know, just keep this love train on the track. Let's hydrate. Oh, and we're coming up on June 1st, so I will be announcing, I do a giveaway every 3 months. We did the first one was a monitor, the second one was a gaming keyboard, so I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to be giving away. I mean, somebody said PlayStation 5, it's like, yeah, right. But I do like to, let's see, are you contactable through Discord? Absolutely. If you, on the channel page, in the About section, my Discord is there, and please feel free to contact me through that. I will be back a little bit later this afternoon, so if you leave me a message, I will definitely respond to it. But, okay, who would we like to give a raid to? Let's raid somebody. Ooh, how about Charlotte? Charlotte, who is an absolute sweetheart, and she is really neat. Okay. Yes, as the boomer tries to be able to do stuff. Okay, IJRLOTTE. I think. Why does this thing keep moving? Charlotte M. Alrighty, so, and bye Sheila, mwah, bye Leah, everybody, and, just have a wonderful day and a wonderful time, and as always, I wish you balance, and I wish you blessings, from my heart to yours. And as I used to say to my kids when they went to school, have a good day, learn something new, I'm proud of you, and I love you. With you, a great work day. Well, thank you so much. And, for those who can go along on the raid, cool. If not, have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, or night. Oh, there she is. And take care, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.